Unless you want to see this guy cry again, you got to take care of his position group. What do they do right now? Let's break it down. Welcome back in, everybody. I'm Ryan. This is Ryan Going Rogue, RGR Football. I hope that you are having a good day. Make sure that you like, sub, hit the bell. If you don't know me already, I'm a 20-year strength and conditioning coach, consultant, personnel evaluator, all kinds of stuff along this sports realm and obviously in the NFL and the NFL draft. Plenty of content coming here about the draft as we go forward, but this is a Chiefs-focused channel along with all the draft content. If you want that much more on the draft and team building specifically, go to NFL33.com. Get subbed over there at our Substack. Me and the team have a ton of content coming for you, so make sure you check that out. Today is what it's about. It just got me thinking over the weekend about Chris Jones and about how he's kind of the last man standing here, because right now the Chiefs have a ton of free agents, and Charles Omenihu, Joshua Uche, Turk Wharton is a free agent. Yet again, a lot of people forget about him. Derek Nottie, Mike Pennell, Marlon Tui Pelotu, all unrestricted free agents. And the Chiefs have Malik Herring, who is a restricted free agent, but is 28 years old. So for all intents and purposes, there's Mike Dana, there's Chris Jones, and George Karlaftis. That's what you're looking at. And that is a tough pill to swallow. A lot of things have to happen this particular offseason, but we can't let the vibe, the thing that happened in the Super Bowl between the wide receiver group and the offensive tackle group overshadow the fact that the Chiefs have to look at defensive line. All along, they have probably been planning on that. They can't let it slip away now because you uncovered a couple of things that looked really bad in Super Bowl 59. You have to stay on the path. You have to try to get multiple things done, and the defensive line has to be one of them. Now, what makes that tougher is the Chiefs have officially lost another defensive assistant. They are going to need a new DBs coach to go along with Terry Braden that has left for Nebraska as their defensive line coach. So the Chiefs need an assistant on the DL as well. So this group not only is losing players, it's losing its assistant coach. Now, Joe Cullen's still there. And quite frankly, at this point, a week, approaching 10 days post-Super Bowl, there's been no movement for Steve Spagnuolo. There's been no movement for Joe Cullen, despite rumors that I was hearing for weeks and weeks and weeks. There's been no movement for Merritt as well. And I think those three are the key. Nothing against Brendan Daly or any of the other defensive assistants, but those guys are the three core coaches that have to take responsibility and move this team along when they have to do some things. They have to augment the defensive backfield. They have a lot of linebacker work to do, because there's obviously a big free agent or two there. We have to talk about that coming up. But today we're looking at the defensive line, because that group has to take a step forward. For a lot of the season, it was the defensive line that we were more concerned with in not being productive, in not getting to the quarterback. Now they've lost a ton of players, at least temporarily. We'll see who comes back, because I do have a feeling about it. We'll talk about that in a second. And they've lost coaches. But the positive is they haven't lost their big three coaches. And I think at this point, it's probably safe to say that they're not going to. The bulk of the staff looks like it's going to be in place for another run, as they have the last two seasons. I think most importantly is Joe Cullen, and not getting whisked away back to the college ranks to be a defensive coordinator, to keep him in Kansas City. That is uber, uber important. And obviously, the mastermind is Steve Spagnuolo, but it takes a whole group. And so let's hope that nobody else gets snatched away. But we wish those guys who have departed on to different pastures, maybe not greener, but different, the best that they can be. And the good thing is the NFL doesn't really limit what you can do with your coaches. You can pull more in, you can add to the group. So we got to keep an eye on that, as well as we look towards the defensive line as a group and keep an eye on that. Now, of those free agents, I have a feeling Malik Herring has probably endeared himself to the organization. Very, very low cost to keep him. I'm not sure if they will, but my guess is they probably will extend a restricted free agent offer and just keep him on the roster. The question then becomes very, very 1-2 punch for me. Who helped Chris Jones the most this last year that isn't on the roster? But we're taking out Mike Dana. We're taking out George Karlaftis. Those guys are going to be here. Beyond that,
the best way to get into the action is with BetUS and their deal with code YouTube 150. You can start playing today with that exclusive offer. You can get into all the football that you want, whether it's getting into the season-long odds against Super Bowl, against the division. The Chiefs are heavily favored in a lot of those, but there are plenty of bets to be made. And you can do it all at BetUS, where you can get 150% of your deposit bonus up to 3 times and up to 2,000. Use YouTube 150 today at BetUS.
I would argue that Turk Wharton and Charles Omenihu were the top two contributors beyond those two players. Now, FAU is obviously a very young guy, and he will be there as well, and did contribute some. They're looking for more from him. That's got to be part of the equation. But Turk Wharton is going to get some offers, especially as he was able to show more pass rush as the season went on. I do think that he is a guy that's going to get offers outside of Kansas City. The question is going to be whether they want to retain him or not. Charles Omenihu sounds like a man who wants to be back in Kansas City, and I hope that he is. He was on average of 8 contract. He's 28 now. I think he'll be approaching 29 come season. So it's got to be a deal that makes sense to the team, but I do think that they want him back, and it sounds like he wants to be back. So everything that I've seen from him on social and on his YouTube channel definitely makes me feel like that is the case. So then the question becomes Derek Nottie. Now, Derek played all season with a shoulder/tricep issue, upper body, and was able to still be fairly productive. He is currently the oldest in this group outside of Mike Pennell, and that's saying something. I do think he will be allowed to test the waters. He probably will find lukewarm attention. Whether he comes back or whether they feel he can play at a level that continues to help him, that's going to be the question. I think Mike Pennell is in a similar situation. Obviously, he's 5 years older at 34 right now. And he does have that ability to play lesser snaps and still be productive. So I do think he has a very good chance to come back. I think he was on a 1.375 1 year this year. And I think that could be a possibility. The guy that I didn't see enough of, and I kept hoping for it all season, is Marlon Tuipulotu. Didn't get to see enough. We'll see if he gets another chance in Kansas City or if he just has to move on. But there's going to be other additions. There has to be. Most likely in the draft. It's a very deep defensive line class. Let's hope that they explore that. They obviously have other fish to fry, and they're going to have to take care of that. So we will see. And the last thing is the tag. It is tag day. It's the first day you can put the tag on here as I'm recording this. They have until March 4th. I talked about this on Locked On, and I want to do a little bit here on it as well. I don't see the tag coming for Nick Bolton. I just don't see it. I don't think the value's there. It's somewhere between 23 and 25 million are the projections. I put the projections as best that I can find them by people that I trust up on NFL33.com. Go check that out. Get subbed. It is a Substack. It's behind the paywall, but you'll get a look at what it looks like, how to use the tag, as well as the transition tag, the little brother of the franchise tag. So that leaves us with one option if Nick Bolton's not going to be the answer, and that's Trey Smith. The only problem is the Chiefs cannot do it right now with no cap space. Matt Derrick kind of laid that out for us today on Locked On. And that brings me to the point where you could be talking with your friends around the league. If you're Brett Veach, you'd have to set something up and be preordained or pre-negotiated so that you could actually have a deal in place for a trade solution, apply the tag, and get it done all in one swoop. If you could do that with friends like either Ryan Pace in Chicago, Mike Borgonzi now in Tennessee, it could be a possibility. But I have to say it's a stretch. It's a long shot. The cap number is likely to be also 23 to 25, probably more like 25 for Trey Smith. Now, there's plenty of cash to spend in Chicago. There's a decent amount in Tennessee. I think the need is bigger in Chicago, obviously, with a quarterback like you have in Caleb Williams. But it's a very tricky deal to put together. And it would probably require getting some cap space back artificially, because I don't know if the NFL is going to let you put the tag on and trade a guy in the same day. If they did, it would likely only be with trade partners you already know and are comfortable with in Ryan Poles and Mike Borgonzi. So if it happens, that's likely the way that it will. At this point, I'm not sure that it can, but we're going to find out. That's where I see it today. This is the breakdown. If you have thoughts that are different or something else you'd like to hear about, give me a topic. Put your comments down below. Let me know what you think of the tag, of the defensive line in particular. And what do you think the coaching staff looks like? It's going to be an interesting week. We're going to get back to our normal schedule. Dan with the film, stats from Gary, the whole 9 yards as we start turning towards the draft. But I'm going to keep giving you the breakdown, the real truth on Tuesday. Don't miss it. Thanks for joining me today. I'll catch you next time.
Thanks for watching this video from the team at RGR Football. Click these videos to see more and subscribe to RGR Football.